You have found what lights you up. I'm your host, Sunny the Life Coach, and I'm here because I see you searching for something or someone out there to help you feel better. Something to take away the pain that you're feeling, the inadequacies. I know all of the things that happen in life can leave you feeling empty. Your search is over. This podcast is all about finding your own freedom and power to love yourself enough to shine in the ways you were always meant to, the ways in which you are already fully capable of. If you're ready for some real talk, some serious truth bombs, and a few F-bombs, you are in the right place. Let's do this. Let's get lit. Hey there and welcome. I am always so grateful that you chose to press play on this episode today, whenever and wherever you may be. You made that choice. There's a reason for that, and that's what I'm here for on this day. That's what I'm here for every day. I recall that when I first started this podcast, one of my dear friends asked me how I planned what I talk about each week. Well, we are fast closing in on 100 episodes, which is freaking fantastic. And never has there been a week that I have drawn a blank. Why is that? Because I listen. I listen to what is happening around me, the voices around me, and also to the voice inside of me. Active listening. That's a key communication skill. I'm telling you, it can also get you in trouble. I'll talk about this more in a minute. With every single one of these episodes, I am becoming more deeply connected with not only each of you, but also myself. I am learning to trust myself. That is huge. I don't need to ask what anyone thinks. This is my voice. This is my platform. It may still be small if I want to run comparisons. I've done enough of that, trust me. I have covered a good chunk of my life here so far, questioning my own worthiness of even being here, and I am done with that. So this podcast may be small, but it is mighty. I am finding myself, and you are coming along with me for the ride, hopefully finding some part of yourself as well. And that is worth celebrating. That alone is worth celebrating. I am honored that you are here. So, let's talk about fear today. I have woven it in here and there on previous episodes, but today I want to face it head on because those are the messages I have been receiving over the past week from so many different directions and spaces. And part of my own journey at this current time has been to really tune in to what I'm hearing, not from the news or from social media or any number of platforms, but from actual human beings. Now, those messages may be delivered through one of those platforms. I truly am still not doing much in person these days. And that's not because I'm not allowed, and it's not because I literally cannot because we are on lockdown, or that I don't want to, as many other countries are again on lockdown. We'll get to that. It is simply by design of the work that I do. I was coaching virtually before the pandemic began. Yes, that's going to be part of what I have to say today because it is relevant. I am going to touch on the pandemic and some of those elements. I completed my courses online pre-pandemic. I feel like we've already woven that into our vernacular. In fact, I know that we have because those have been part of my conversations. Anyway, here's what has been presented to me lately. Those of you listening in the U.S. are fully aware that we are generally free to move about our own country or city, also state to state, and that has quite frankly only been a thing since the COVID vaccines were made widely available. It's been a slow moving thing. In the U.S., we also have this whole freedom thing on which our young country was founded. Freedom is wonderful. I love freedom. It's fantastic. Again, I think I mentioned it in my intro. You have the power and freedom within you, no matter what is happening. I want to remind you of this right now. And we'll come back to this too, because your awareness of this is super important. But let's touch on vaccine mandates for just a hot minute, because it's rolling across the globe. It isn't just here. Our U.S. mandates are, at this moment, I think companies with over 100 employees and some areas of California have announced mandates for kids 12 and over. The latter is fairly recent at the time I'm recording this, so this is what we are being told. Okay, this is the scenario. But for all of you listening, just because someone stands behind a microphone and says this is the order doesn't mean it all happens immediately. Please believe that. I did have the benefit of working within a state government organization, and it was the Department of Education, no less. So let me assure you that just because a major political figure orders something doesn't mean it's going to happen right away, or even at all. So I would offer to those of you who might be stressing about vaccine mandates to simply take a moment and understand that there are layers upon layers of bureaucracy at every turn. Again, I'm talking about the U.S. It's not just about the headline on the news. Now, let's talk about those headlines for a hot minute. The media, in all forms, is designed to stoke fear. The more scared you are, the more you will consume. Those are facts. It is how they operate and profit. They also manipulate and take advantage of planting seeds of thought in your brain. All they have to do is plant the seeds. And this has been evidenced recently with the Social Dilemma film that I believe I covered in episode 28, and also through whistleblower testimony recently and all that jazz. I'm not trying to make this episode about here are all of the things that we are consuming all of the time, and this is how our world works. But then again, I kind of am, because this is how the world works. There is a lot of profit to be made from our fear. Whether it is pharmaceutical companies, the media in general, our governments and corporations that run the world, this is the structure that has been built. This is where we are, right here and right now. It's been here for a while now. It's just that many of us are beginning to fully see it. And when that realization hits, it can feel like a ton of bricks and perhaps even overwhelming. I get that. Because if we come back to what I said earlier about hearing, and what I said just now about seeing, we are starting to bring our senses into full awareness. Hey, that's not a bad thing. Now, I've been hearing and seeing for a while. In fact, my husband and I have had many a conversation about the news, the mainstream media. He continues to watch it, and we both agree that we fully understand that whatever we are seeing is the narrative that has been crafted for us. In fact, it is so blatant that on some days we'll just roll our eyes at each other like this is just dumb. But that's how it's done, my friends. It's hammering the same message over and over and over again until, are you scared yet? Are you feeling scarcity yet? Are you running out and buying that Thanksgiving turkey in early October because they've told you there will be a shortage? Oh no! Whatever will we do without the centerpiece of that turkey on the table? My friends overseas are fascinated by our fascination over consumerism. And that's what it is, right? Hurry up, get your stuff, get it now, or there will be nothing left. It's a narrative. Whether it's true or not, remains to be seen, but I am not about to panic because I know I have choices. And that's what I want you to keep in mind through all of this phase of, I don't even know what it is, but it's something quite amazing, in my opinion. We are going through a shift. That much is clear to me. Over the past 2 years alone, we have been exposed to just about every level of corruption of every system that exists in our world. That's not necessarily a bad thing. So, okay, back to fear. False evidence appearing real, as I've heard from many thought leaders and friends. You can use that acronym anytime you feel a need to ground yourself in certainty that you are okay right now in this moment. You are okay because you are listening to this episode. So I know you still have access to the internet, and you have electricity, and you are living and breathing. You are okay right now in this moment. And when you feel that fear rising up, I want you to just pause and ask yourself where it came from. What's the source? If it's any form of media or conversation with another person about the state of the world right now and how we're all fucked, I want you to remember that your perception is reality. That's where your freedom and power lies. When you know that your perception is creating your reality. This is where we have to use our critical thinking and discernment and apply to every situation that is coming at us. And I acknowledge fully there is a lot coming at us right now at a rapid clip. Is this true? Is this true for me in this moment? Do I believe it? And if I do believe it, could I also believe the opposite? Seriously, we have to start asking ourselves these questions if we want to keep our sanity intact. It's been a while since I shared some wisdom from Don Miguel Ruiz Jr., so let's put some of the mastery of self into action here. Before I do that, just a little background that he is the son of the author of The Four Agreements, which is an absolutely fantastic book, a very easy read, and I highly recommend it. So is The Mastery of Self. It's next level stuff. I think I've read pretty much all of these books, but The Mastery of Self is the latest one I've read. The reason I appreciate it so much is that it paints a visual that we are living in a dream of the planet. That's the term from this book, the dream of the planet. And that dream is what has been carefully curated by those in power, showing us what they want us to see. But when you truly become a master of self, you can see it for what it really is, and it doesn't have as much of an impact on you. Freedom and power inside of you right now, accessible anytime you need it. That's why I love it. Okay, here's an excerpt from chapter 5, which is spotting the triggers and maneuvering the traps. And it's about putting the mastery of self into action. The next time you are in a situation and you begin to feel angry, defensive, guilty, sad, or anything similar arising, the first step is to spot the emotion. Admit it exists and accept that these feelings are inside you. Just identifying, admitting, and accepting the feelings often has a calming effect and begins the process of releasing them. And the next questions to ask yourself are, what is this emotion here to show you? What fears are the words or actions of another activating inside you? What are you trying to control and why? Now, I realize that you don't have the full context of the book here, but I think these are fair questions to ask ourselves in any scenario, even though he's talking about being triggered by other humans. But ultimately, that's what's happening. other humans are putting content out there in the world. We are consuming it and we are being triggered. And I've talked about, is it true, before. However, in the context of these times and trying to figure out if what you're seeing or hearing is true, let's take the inevitability of mandatory vaccines, for example, the looming inevitability of it. You can very quickly find yourself down a rabbit hole of conspiracy theories and various opinions, and God even knows what those seeds being planted might sprout for you when you try to sleep at night. I see you right now. I know exactly what's going down. Worrying, catastrophizing, spinning in fear. I mean, if you want to consider conspiracies, and it's absolutely up to you to do that, just please know what you're doing to your own energy and life force by feeding on that content daily, hourly, whatever you're doing. Know what you're doing to your own energy and life force by that consumption. Because seriously, I accidentally stumbled into a Clubhouse room the other day that was about mandatory vaccinations for children, and it was crazy. I mean, I stuck around for about 20 minutes just to gauge the energy and the content people were sharing. And yeah, I can totally see how one can easily spin out in despair because you feel like you have no control. So I think these questions are fair to explore, to turn it back to you, those 3 questions. And I'm going to repeat those for you again. What is this emotion here to show you? What fears are the words or actions of another activating inside you? What are you trying to control and why? I think those questions are fair to explore because truth right now is what we are seeking. And hey, we just might be living in the Matrix after all. And no one really knows for sure. Maybe that's legit. Bring it back to what is certain. You know one thing that I know that is certain? I am living right now in this moment. I have all of my senses intact. I am healthy. I am well. I am breathing. I am safe. Right now, in this moment, I have food, water, and shelter. I am safe. Right now, in this moment. I cannot stress enough the importance of acknowledging this for yourself when you feel that fear creeping in because the seeds are being planted by forces of who knows what or who is behind. And I can also tell you this for certain. When I do that, when I bring it back to me in this moment, in my breath and my amazing body, that we don't give nearly enough attention to, by the way, we focus a lot on the mind and we fall victim to a lot of mind games, and we forget that we have an entire body that is doing its thing all day, every day. A heart that beats, blood that courses through veins, organs that process nutrients and filter toxins, lungs that breathe, all without putting a single thought toward it. So my recommendation here is that when you find yourself slipping into fear, you have a couple of choices. That's your power. You have choices around how you are going to manage yourself in this moment. You can either redirect your mind by asking the questions that Ruiz suggests. You can focus on your body and be in the here and now. Focus on the wonder of it, the reality, yes, the truth that you are living, breathing, and functioning right now in this moment. The focus isn't meant to be on what you don't want. I don't want this vaccine, or I don't want these mandates. I don't want to lose my job. The focus is meant to be on what you do want and what you already have and deeply value and appreciate. I am grateful for my job in this moment. I am grateful for my health in this moment. I am safe. I am secure. I am well. I am loved in this moment. Feed that beautiful soul of yours with what it already craves. Your awareness that you are a beautiful soul, full of love and light and purpose and the capacity for a powerful experience, even in the darkest of times. It's all good. You are well. You are safe. You are loved in this moment. As Rumi says, if we accept that uncertainty, it becomes an adventure. And that's another thing I've said a few times. I'm not sure if I've said it here as much as I know I've said it to clients and colleagues lately. What a wonderful time to be alive. Seriously. The things that we are witnessing in the world around us just might be part of an awakening. That is a beautiful concept to consider. Much more palatable than the evening news or those websites you keep visiting. You have the power and the freedom inside of you right now to create an entirely different experience of this life if you choose to do that. I promise you, that is true. If you'd like a little support on this journey of yours, please don't hesitate to reach out. I would love, love, love to connect. Light up, shine on.